Welcome back. President Trump in a Washington, D.C. courtroom yesterday pleading not guilty to 4 charges related to the special counsel investigation on January 6th. Back in November, President Biden promised to make sure Trump would not become the president again. Watch.
We just have to demonstrate that he will not take power if he does run, making sure he under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again.
So there you go. He said it. That's where it's coming from. Then there is this New York Times report alleging that Biden told his inner circle back in 2021 that Donald Trump was a threat to democracy and should be prosecuted. Biden even said that he wanted Attorney General Merrick Garland to act less like a ponderous judge and more like a prosecutor. Joining me right now is Missouri Congressman Mark Alford. He's a member of the House Small Business, Agriculture, and Armed Services Committee. Congressman, we've got all of this in black and white. So how do you separate Merrick Garland not interfering in what's supposed to be an honest investigation? How do you square that circle?
Well, look, Merrick Garland wanted to be a United States Supreme Court justice. That did not happen. I don't know if that's swaying his decision in any way, but this has never been about January 6th. This is about November 5th of 2024. That's the presidential election in 458 days. And the left, the Democrats, are scared to death that Donald Trump is going to get back into office and start cleaning house the way he should have done in his first term. We've got to make sure that there is not a two-tier justice system in America. We have lost faith in our justice system. America has lost faith in the media for the most part. They've lost faith in our federal law enforcement. And we've got to get back to righting that in America. We have confidence in our systems.
Well, you're right. There is a complete drop in confidence. But the question is, what are you and your colleagues doing about it? You can understand the frustration of some people who see the bad guys getting away with things over and over again. We all lived through the Russia collusion hoax where, one political campaign came up with a lie about her opponent, the other political campaign, to take him down. The problem is the one who came up with it had massive networks throughout government, pushed it through. The FBI, the CIA, they started pursuing FISA warrants on innocent Americans, and there's been no accountability. We all watched as President Trump got impeached for a phone call on Ukraine when now we know the FBI had the Hunter Biden laptop. They knew that Biden was accepting money from Ukraine. We all know that they knew this when 50-plus intelligence officials signed their name to a letter saying that it was Russian disinformation. When is this going to stop? What are you going to do about it? People are frustrated.
I feel your frustration. I am just as frustrated, but I am confident now we're moving in the right direction. Look, we've only been in office for 7 months now. Even before the Republicans took over in the House and with our Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, plans were underway for judiciary and oversight committees to fully investigate what's been going on, this nonsense, this double standard, these lies, deceptions, gaslighting of the American people. We are getting to the bottom of it. It's going to take time to do it right. I'm asking the American people to hang with us. The information starting to come out. The Devon Archer transcript, I think, tells a lot about the corruption in the Biden crime family.
Yeah, let's talk about the transcript, because House Republicans released the transcript from the Devon Archer testimony. And in that transcript, we see it torpedoed this Democrat Dan Goldman claim that Archer said Hunter was selling an illusion of access. It turns out that it was Dan Goldman who used that phrase, selling an illusion of access, attempting to lead Archer into saying that. Archer pushed back on Goldman's charge. And pointed out that Joe Biden met with and talked to Hunter's business partners. Congressman, what is the most important thing we need to get out of that testimony of Devon Archer? What's the takeaway?
That the Biden name and the Biden position was up for sale. Money changed hands, coming from different governments, including the Chinese Communist government, Romania, and Ukraine. And that the Biden administration, because of its corrupt past in the vice presidential position, I believe is now compromised as the President of the United States. That is why this is a matter of national security. We must get to the bottom of it before it's too late.
Well, you sent a letter to the Biden administration. You've demanded answers on possible Chinese malware targeting U.S. global military operations. You wrote this: CCP aggression in the cyber domain must be met with a firm, resolute, and measured response from the United States. We are watching anything but that, okay? We are watching this administration send cabinet member after cabinet member begging for some kind of communication from the CCP. And what are they doing? We're finding out every day another effort to undermine the United States. 2 Navy sailors just arrested for selling military information to the CCP. We are losing this country, and I'll tell you, this is so serious. Increasingly, American voters and people understand what's going on here, even though the mainstream media is not reporting this.
Maria, that's part of the problem. I think America needs to wake up. There's only a certain percentage that watches Fox and Fox Business News and other media, I think, that really tells the truth. And we've got to wake America up to the serious threat the Communist Chinese Party is to America and our survival as a nation. They have their tentacles in everything we do. And now we found out that they've encrypted malware into our military assets, our bases, that could shut down our power, that could shut down our grid, that could shut down our water supply, that could disrupt any response plans that we have should they indeed take over Taiwan. We've got to make sure that we get answers from the Secretary of Defense and the National Security Administration. We have told them we need answers by August 14th, a week from this Monday. We'll see if that happens. And when we get back to Washington from our August in-work district month, we're looking for some classified briefings to find out exactly the extent of this, how long they've known about it, and what are they doing to make sure it doesn't continue.
I mean, Congressman, a surveillance balloon sending military information back to the CCP, police stations throughout America, their own police stations, decades of intellectual property theft, cyber attacks. Even as Anthony Blinken is about to travel to China, they're hacking his email and hacking the emails of the State Department and the Commerce Department. And what do we get from Joe Biden in terms of a response? Cabinet member after cabinet member going there begging for communication, and this idea that he's about to lift sanctions because he believes that he's going to lift sanctions on Beijing if they agree to something about fentanyl. They've been sending fentanyl into this country for years, killing American citizens, working with the cartels at the Mexican border. What does Beijing have on Joe Biden?
Well, that's a very good question. You know, Joe Biden likes to brag about his longstanding relationship with Xi Jinping, how many times they've sat down together for coffee and discussions. We don't need to be cuddling up. We don't need to be cozying up. We don't need to be groveling at the feet of the Communist Chinese Party. We need to show that we are tough, that we are resolute, that we are not putting up with their spies. That spy balloon went right over our district of Whiteman Air Force Base, home of the B-2 stealth bomber. That fentanyl that has come across the Mexican border that Joe Biden has let 7 million illegal aliens in our sovereign nation, along with the fentanyl. It is killing our citizens, 100,000 a year. We're having a fentanyl forum here in our district this coming Monday, hearing from parents who have lost loved ones. What can we do about it as a nation? This is despicable that if our commander-in-chief is not going to do anything to save our own citizens, we're having together as communities to figure out a way so that we can help in this crisis.
Congressman, it's an extraordinary moment to be a member of Congress. I'll tell you that. We're watching your work, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.